Whoa, I'm on mute. What's going on, peeps? I'm just double checking my settings here. If you're tuning in right now, let me know how the audio, if that's through. Hopefully it is nice and clear. I do have the Blue Yeti X mic that's over here, but just trying to make sure that my leveling and everything else is in good shape. If things look good to you, please let me know in chat. Um, but the purpose of this stream is to go over a action figure that I've had for some time. It's an Incredible Hulk action figure from SH Figuarts. And the reason why I'm doing this finally is because I'm actually selling this action figure today. Someone's going to be, they're actually on their way. So I figured that I would get one last hurrah with the figure. So without further ado, let's pull him up. Here we go in all his glory. I think everything is in frame, and let's pull this up into a larger view, shall we? Second here. Let's get the big boy on the big screen. Beauty. How does that look? And how's the audio? Please do let me know to make sure I can make all the adjustments necessary. But this is the SH Figuarts Age of Ultron Hulk. It was released, I believe, at least 10 years ago. So for the longest time, this has kind of been my Hulk, the Hulk that I have in my display case. And for its time, definitely, a pretty decent figure. The only SH Figuarts Hulk that released around that time, I believe it was. I'm gonna say Figma that also released another Hulk with kind of like grayish brown trunks around that time. But neither I feel were screen accurate. This is again was issued as the Age of Ultron Hulk. There is a little Avengers A off to the side over here. But if you were to look at any of the actual, you know, depictions of what he looked like in that movie, he wasn't accurate, or this isn't accurate. I believe again this was based off some concept art. I don't remember Hulk ever having these kind of like you know tech yoga pant kind of like trunks, or having again any of these red line designs and stuff like that kind of across. So again, like I said, I've been very happy with it for a really long time. Hulk that's been definitively staying on the shelf, but I'm going to go through this. The reason why, again, I did purchase an upgrade, which I'll bring into a comparison in the next little bit. But let's just take a look, at a couple of the things. He does have the standard, kind of glaring head over here. He also comes back with this screaming, angry head over here. And then, in addition to the two little fists that he has, he also has his open hand here and the left open hand. So, pretty basic. Talking about a little bit of his articulation. Let's go ahead and, he can kind of tilt left and right, up and down, just ever so slightly. The shoulder has a butterfly that moves forward and back. It does get a little gappy and kind of panely, you know what I mean, around the back. Not so bad though. Arms come out pretty pretty wide, go up pretty tall, but again, also some capage right around there. You can do your full spin through. Unfortunately, one of the things that this figure is lacking is a bicep swivel, so no bicep cut over there, but it does have a double jointed elbow there. Gets you almost pretty much 90 degrees, but, he has a lot of material over here, so it makes it hard for him to actually, kind of flex like the arm, from forearm to bicep. And this is all in a ball peg over here, so you can switch around. You see these hands around here. You have one big ball peg for the torso, bends forward and back. A little marble hollow here. You have a little bit of torso swivel, but there is a little bit of friction, so just be mindful of that kinda ab piece and then that lower back area here, but really no forward or back crunch. Then you have these hip sockets, very similar to, I guess, the Dragon Ball figures where, you have that kinda more of a ball-shaped hip, socket, thigh rotation, your knees, double jointed knees, comes back a decent amount, and I like the fact that when you bend the knee, the material is actually painted through, so that's a nice little detail that this has, the illusion of the full pant. There's no, boot or calf cut here, but you do have a nice ball hinge on the bottom. You can move your foot, forward and back, and you could rock that ankle side to side, pretty well. So, all in all, a pretty decent figure. My main gripe is the lack of the bicep swivel and the fact that, again, it isn't screen accurate to, a lot of the, Hulk action figures that have sort of been out in the market, over the past couple of years. So, again, the reason why I'm making the upgrade, this one was released, I'm gonna say 10 years ago or so now, and, I actually was able to snag this guy. So this is the Avengers Assemble Hulk edition. This is, I believe, the latest release of Hulk, which was based on the iteration from the 2012 Avengers movie. A couple other ones, again, aside from the Age of Ultron, there's the Figma one that was released, as I mentioned. There is an Infinity War one where he has kind of more of like that buzz, like not buzz cut, but more of like that fade, kind of look. There is a Smart Hulk. It's got a Jam Hulk that kind of came out a little bit smaller. There's a Ragnarok Hulk, and I believe that this is the last one that they released. So let's bust them out. And this came out. Let's see here. Do I have a date on this bad boy? I don't have a date. I'm gonna say this came out within the last 2 years. So I'm gonna go ahead and say that there's probably about 10 years or close to 10 years of release time in between each figure. So obviously not a one-to-one comparison between the two. But let's take a look. So let's take the figure out first and foremost, and we'll move the accessories aside prior to getting into them and remove this creamy face. And I'll put the standard face on, just so it's a little bit more of a even comparison here. Right away, a couple of things that I see when I'm looking at this figure is just the greens. This one has like more of a light, sort of tone, where this one has more of a lime, kind of like almost like an earthy kind of green to it. Um, the pants for sure, or the ripped shorts is definitely something that's a lot more accurate to when you're seeing Hulk. The fact that they're torn, throughout the bottom over here, also throughout the back. The proportions, I would say, as well, are better on this Hulk. Like, this guy is definitely has more heft to him in every way. I think, pretty much all areas, he has a little bit more meat to him. Even the abs, like, this is more like a lean, six-pack Hulk, where this guy just has, like, a really big kinda, like, four-pack. Maybe a six is kinda hiding in there. Yeah, there's kind of a six kinda hiding in there. But still kind of, like, more beefier in that sense. And then even, on the chest, you see a difference where this is kind of like a clean chest here, and this guy has, a little bit of that chest hair kinda going on, painted on, and texturized as well, which is kinda cool. The other big upgrade, that, this one has that the previous or the initial one release doesn't have is, again, as I mentioned, this bicep swivel. So being able to building your bicep, is a pretty big asset to, posing articulation. So, it's nice that this Hulk does not lack in the bicep sort of articulation sort of piece. What other things can I note over here? Both of them come with their open hands, which look to be identical or close to the same, very close to the same, but obviously they are painted, slightly different. Open hands here. There we go. Little nail polish on this guy. This one's a little bit more natural looking. The new one also comes with a pair of articulated hands. So in addition to the standard open hand, you have these articulated hands, which has articulation in the pointer finger here, as well as this bottom here. So you can kind of close everything together. It even actually has thumb articulation, which is a nice little touch. So you can use this as a gripping hand and actually hold someone maybe like picking up low key from his leg. So quick comparison between the two. Put some accessories here. Put this open hand here. So the other thing that you will notice is again the head sculpt. There is these two standard like open mouth, angry kind of faces, and they also come with these angry screaming faces. Here. Even comparing both of them together, the size of this head is much larger, which I think is in a better proportion to the Hulk body. And then looking at them, it's just this one on the right is definitely a lot closer to the Mark Ruffalo sort of look. So I definitely think that he looks a lot more screen accurate. That actually goes for I think all the heads. But look at these here. I think that they're a lot closer to Mark Ruffalo's head there. I'll probably do a comparison with, I do have the Marvel Legends Mark Ruffalo, Bruce Banner action figure, but I just really want this to be the comparison of the actual Hulk figures themselves. So, let's go and move this guy aside, and move the accessories aside, so we do know that this comes with, again, 2 fists, 2 open hands, and 2 heads, 1 angry head and 1 screaming head, and this guy comes with a smirking head, screaming head, standard angry face, the 2 open palms, and the 2 articulated hands again. So these ones have articulated thumbs, articulated pointer fingers, and then these 3 fingers kinda move together. One thing that is missing again from the previous Hulk, is even just this neck articulation here, being able to move that neck back and forth. We do not have that whatsoever on the Hulk. The original Hulk is all one piece. His neck articulation and, moves around pretty well. The butterflies have actually a higher cut into the shoulder and pretty much, like, to the back as well. So I can bring hands across. like that. He does suffer from, again, a little bit of kinda gappage around the back over there, but not any again, not much different from what we get here, but this guy does get a lot better range in regards to being able to pull his arms together between the 2. Even if I am to rotate this, only so much, and that's because, if I cross the arms and use the bicep swivel, that actually allows me to get in significantly closer in terms of that kinda like butterfly range over here. That's definitely a huge upgrade for the new Hulk. Right? Also, again, arms come up pretty high, swing around. You have your bicep swivel that I keep bragging about. You have this double jointed elbow. You have the fist on a ball joint similar to the last one. This is all on ball hinge, so you can kinda get a little bit of upper crunch, and compared to the previous one, you could actually get some ab crunch here. You do get a little bit of exposure around the back where you could see that Marvel kinda tag, but again, the previous one has no ab crunch whatsoever, like, that's just fixed. So, you get no look at that, like, you get a pretty decent bend, forward with that Hulk compared to the previous, like, let's crunch as far as we can go, both guys. You can see, it's pretty significant how much more of like a hunch you can get over with this other Hulk. Look how much further down he's kind of bending here. Big difference. And again, you have a lot more clearance on the hip to swing left and right. Whereas again, this one super pretty tight, not a lot of room there. And again, I do worry about applying pressure around that hip and even around the back over here. It does seem to be making contact with this with the pants. So I definitely don't want to do that. I mentioned again, these shorts aren't very screen accurate to any version that I've seen. This is the Age of Ultron version. He does have the little Avengers A on the side, but I don't remember seeing him have any design like that. I think that what we're most accustomed to is seeing the torn, ripped style of pant from any Incredible Hulk figure. Looks like this guy doesn't have pockets. This dude does definitely have pockets with a little belt loop here. And if you notice as well, like these hip kinda like thigh sort of pieces are much larger on this guy than they are over here, so, um, let's see here. Legs come up pretty far, definitely significantly better than the Hulk. Look at this. I pair the 2, straighten that back leg, show you that difference there, the difference in how much higher that leg kinda kicks up. And again, you have your thigh swivel, you have your double jointed knee, and again, that knee will kinda come out with a little bit of clearance. You're about at a 90-degree angle over here. No calf cut or ankle cut like the previous Hulk, but again, it does have that kinda ball hinge on the bottom over here, so that gap over here allows us to go up, go back pretty well. Frozen? It looks frozen here. Bear with me. Just a sec. Just noticed that I was on mute. Just trying to sort out some tech issues here. What I was basically saying is that I was reviewing my figure, comparing the Avengers Assemble and Age of Ultron Hulk as its Figuarts figures. I'm currently using again my primary webcam is obviously right in front of me, which is live right now. The one that's frozen is actually my secondary camera, which is a Google Pixel 5. So instead of again selling my phone, I ended up kind of holding on to it and using it as a secondary camera. You know, phone cameras have really good really good cameras these days. So I thought that it was just better to hold on to it and use it as a secondary. See if there's no success here. I may switch over to another camera. Here, not now. Let's try and boot up my secondary Droid cam here. Let's go ahead and remove that for now. You'll have to deal with my ugly mug for a quick second here. Get my IP settings going. How's everyone else doing tonight? Enjoying the Wednesday, ready for the holidays? I know I am. More days of work, off for next week. There we go. Now let's take a look and see if this secondary camera is working, and it looks like we're good. So I switched over to my primary, or my not my primary, but my phone, which is a Samsung Galaxy S3, not Pro, not an Ultra or any of the crazy ones. It's literally the very standard Galaxy S23 phone, but it does have very similar, or the same camera quality, I believe, as the middle grade. I didn't need the high grade. Didn't really care for getting that one there. So let's plug this bad boy in. Now this looks definitely a different field of view and already showing better image quality than the previous one. But let's go ahead and make sure, yeah, autofocus is locked, and let's the bigger cam, not me, the figures. There we go. We can get back to it. If you're just joining us right now, some of what we're talking about is just a figure comparison. I recently upgraded from the Age of Ultron Hulk to the Avengers Assemble Edition Hulk. Pretty night and day. This is actually the first release Hulk that SH Figuarts put out, to my knowledge, which is a lot of the other Age of Ultron figures. So it comes with the standard head, the head here, two closed fists, and then two open fists. A little bit nail polish there, old Goth Hulk. And then the other Hulk that I just upgraded to is this bad boy over here, which is the 2012 Avengers Assemble Edition. Comes with the standard base over here. In addition to that, he has a smirking face, screaming face. Oops, sorry, I picked up the wrong screaming face. This is there you go. That's the right one. Similar to the Age of Ultron Hulk, he has these open hands, no nail polish, and then these articulated hands, which is a nice little bonus. You have your thumb articulation, you have that pointer finger that can go out, and then you could just kinda close everything together, and then you could use that as a gripping hand. You could hold Loki by the leg or hold the bat or anything really. So, just accessories alone, the new Hulk definitely wins. As an additional head, the smoking head, which that one is lacking, and then the 2 articulated hands, as well. Other things that we were kinda covering, previously are things like, the articulation upgrades. Well, let's go even with the aesthetics. Um, this is a lot lighter and kinda washed out, where this one has, like, more of that, I guess, earthy kinda, lime green tone, where this is a pretty bright green. This guy has, like, the tech shorts, which I don't remember ever seeing, with an Avengers A across the side, and then all these, panel lines and stuff like that, which also I'm not unfamiliar with. This guy has a traditional, ripped pant kinda look, which is a lot more similar to what we see in a lot of other Hulks. He also has the chest hair, which is pretty funny, gone through puberty, and the articulation is also a really big upgrade. So, again, let's move these accessories and stuff aside so we can look at the Hulks themselves. So as we go from head to toe, a couple of things are, this Hulk is pretty much a ball peg or a dumbbell, one ported in on top, one on the bottom. So you can look down and look up, tilt side to side, and just kind of move around. And that's as far as he goes. Where this one, he can look down a little bit, look up, tilt side to side, move around, and then he also has that neck articulation, so he can actually swing his neck forward and back. Oh, there goes his head. Losing my mind here. Take this guy back in. So that neck articulation is something new. Another thing, both of them again have their butterfly cuts to be able to get, you know, some forward and back motion. I'll pull this guy's arms back, pull this guy's arms back. So you do get some gappage in the center here, but pretty much, very similar in terms of like that wingspan. Looks like this is kind of catching a little bit on something, so I might need to do a little bit of surgery and figure out why this butterfly isn't, moving as far into the back as I'd like. The forward crunch is where it's significant, not just because of the forward butterfly, but because of something that this guy is lacking is a bicep cut. So there is no bicep swivel on this action figure, whereas this one does. So when we look to do kind of like a forward swing motion, Superman kind of pose, I could do this, and I could do my bicep swivel, and I can move the hands, and I can actually touch hands over here. Whereas with this guy, I can swing my arms forward, and I cannot no way at all that this guy can touch his hand. Maybe if I do this, no, even if I, try and use that kind of mechanism, that's no nothing doing. Butterfly joint, massive upgrade. The arms, pretty much the same. They that double jointed elbow, which does only about a 90-degree. Again, there's lots of muscle mass there, so you can't really get much further than that. And then both of the fists are on a ball peg. So this one has a pretty decent range of motion, though. Look at this guy, a lot tighter. But I feel that for some reason, I feel that the other Hulk has a better motion there. Age of Ultron Hulk, again, pretty much has this upper torso, left lean. That's a pretty good, side lean, and then forward, but you get some gapping here, forward down, gap there, and then that Marvel sort of crest, and a little bit of, waist swivel. I am hesitant because this lip over here, and the backside does catch onto the plastic, so I don't wanna scratch the paint. And there's no other than the upper torso crunch, there's no lower ab crunch. Whereas if we look at this guy, a little less in terms of like that side to side motion, but I'm not too worried about Hulk moving that way. You can bend a little bit forward, a little bit back, not as far as the second Hulk, but what he does have is he actually does have an ab crunch where you can swing his torso forward. Looks kind of funny from behind, but obviously you won't be looking at the action figure from that angle. But just in comparison, try and lean both of these dudes forward. It's no comparison in regards to how far that each action figure can kind of lean forward here. Going to the hips, he only goes about that high up to kick, not too far. Whereas this guy has all of this. So again, no comparison when it comes down to the level of kind of like kicking articulation angle here. Both of them again have their upper thigh swivel, double jointed knee. I do at least like the fact that they were able to, keep the paint line kind of running through when the knee gets exposed over here. Sometimes, again, you don't even get paint, just plastic there at all, which looks terrible. So, got to give them credit for that. And then you have your ankle tilts forward and ankle tilt back. So, there's these little cutouts here that allow you to do that. And then you have your ankle tilt left and right. One thing that I just noticed is also, again, forgot that both of these guys have toe articulation. So that holds up over here. I don't know. Let me know your thoughts while we're together. The whole reason why I'm doing this review is primarily because again I'm selling this guy over here. I've had him for over, let's say, 10 years. I'm trying to figure out when he was actually released. And then this one, I believe again, this is the first release from SH Figuarts, and this is the last release from SH Figuarts when it comes to the Hulk. There are a couple figures that come in between. For the SH Figuarts, there is definitely, well, before SH Figuarts released another one, Figma released their version of a Hulk, apparently it's super terrible. Comes with a, I think, gray, kinda like cream color khaki rip pant or something like that, but apparently that's not a great figure. After SH Figuarts released this one, the next one, to my knowledge, that they released was the Thor Ragnarok version, which is all armored up. Following that, there was the Infinity, um, yes, the Infinity War one, so Hulk a little bit more of like a buzz cut. I believe his articulation is very similar to this. Besides, I think it's lacking the bicep swivel. Then they released the Pajama Hulk. So that's the one I believe that he did the snap. So he's in that kind of like jumpsuit, like Smart Hulk. And then after that, I believe again this is the latest Hulk that they released, which is based on the 2012 Avengers movie. So you know, I think it's been due time, to kind of get the upgrade. Like definitely all the articulation upgrades around the neck, around the biceps specifically, and then even that pose and that ab crunch is something significant. That I appreciate from this one over here. In addition, there's the screaming face toss on here. I'll put the screaming face of the new Hulk on here too. So the likeness is definitely a lot more Mark Ruffalo on this guy here. And the head, even the head proportion, his head looks pretty tiny now that I really take a look at that, compared to this guy over here, which is a lot more proportionate. Even the muscle mass, I think is done much better here. He has a lot more muscle sculpt and I guess like the ab sculpt and stuff like that, where this dude is just like a beast. Just has a lot more heft to the way that this guy's molded. In addition, what's missing as well again is this smirking face over here. So this one does not have any type of smirking face. As I mentioned, the articulated hand is something that I think is a pretty cool addition. What do I have here? Maybe I can use my Lasher action figure. He doesn't stop losing his tentacles. So see if I can just grab his leg here. Yeah, so you can go ahead and do, you can hold somebody with that hand. Puny God, do recreate the Loki scene or something like that, or just kind of have him kind of holding really whatever he wants. So I don't know. I think I'm pretty happy with the purchase. The reason why I picked this guy up, as I mentioned as well, is that I'm trying to thin, the collection a little bit, and I know that I have the majority of the MCU figures, but what I really wanted is a very definitive original six Avengers set. So I have all the original Avengers now. So it'll be a matter of me kind of figuring out like I don't want any duplicates. And if anything, maybe if there is a very significant change to the figure itself, like to me, what makes this easy is I feel that Hulk. This can be my definitive Hulk. That's pretty much carries throughout. It looks kind of comic like, but also looks enough like the Mark Ruffalo version. And I think represents Hulk throughout his journey and his arc throughout the MCU movies. Whereas, there are some characters that had a little bit more development. For example, Iron Man, obviously, he created so many different suits, from the original Iron Man movie through to Infinity War with the nanotech. So I do have, I believe, the Mark 6 and 7, which are from the Avengers movies, and then I do have that last, I believe it's the Mark like 50 or like the Mark 45 or something like that. No, not the 45. I'm gonna say it's in the 50s or 60s, but that's that nanotech suit with more of the gold arms, and the nano cannons and all that other types of stuff. So I don't mind having the contrast, from that perspective. But otherwise, again, I'm really trying to narrow it down to having what my definitive version of an MCU character looks like. Andrew, the other half of Toy Bacon, that logo that you see right above me, pretty much he has all of the Marvel Legends comic style action figures unlocked. So, between the two of us as action figure photographers and collectors, we have a good coverage of both the MCU and comic, versions of these characters. And that's something we definitely need to do a little bit more of a crossover, maybe with our action figure photography, is to do a little bit more crossover stuff between both versions, or even comparisons between a comic accurate version versus a screen accurate MCU version. So I think that's pretty much, mainly what I wanted to cover. Again, me, being pleased with my with my upgrade here. Um, so again, original SH Figuarts Age of Ultron Hulk, 2 heads, 4 hands, and the Avengers Assemble Hulk, 3 heads, 6 hands, including the 2 articulated hands. So, I would say that this is a nice little upgrade, and I wanted to kinda show a lot more of the comparisons of these figures. I know for sure this dude is bootlegged, quite a lot. I think you can get him, probably on, eBay or anything like that. One thing that I noticed once they started releasing it, the plastic or whatever they used looked really, like, really glossy. So that may be like a giveaway, an indicator, if you do see a a Hulk for a really good price out there, just be mindful and take a look at some of the finishes, I guess, in terms of like what that looks like. Because again, this is an authentic product. Again, I got it on pre-order right when it released from. It wasn't Big Bad Toy Store. It was Ami Ami, the Japanese shop. And as you can see here again, like he's pretty matted, right? Like there's not you don't see again you see a little bit of shine, but I think that's mainly because the brightness of my softbox and my ring light that I have over here, and it's more the light kinda bouncing off the plastic. But the other ones that I've seen, I'm not even kidding you, they look like he, like, literally greased himself up, like he's ready for, like, a muscle, called, like um, a bodybuilding competition or something like that, so it looks, like, super greasy, it's really weird. But again, if that's for you because that's the Hulk that's in your price range, I can't knock it. But I did wanna call it out because I have seen a bunch in the wild and, through action figure photography and stuff like that out there. So just be mindful of that. So, again, I do have the seller, who's going to be coming to pick up this guy right over here. That money's gonna go to offset, the cost of picking up my new Hulk, which I got at a pretty good deal from a Facebook online purchase. And I just kinda want to share my findings with all of you and just kinda let you all have a chance to kinda ask questions if anything did come up. I think of what else we got going on other than these action figures here. I have let's put this Hulk away. Get a Ziploc bag. Just gonna toss the Hulk that I'm selling in the Ziploc bag. I'll meet that guy downstairs. What's going on here? Alright, say bye-bye, Age of Ultron Hulk. And Avengers Hulk is gonna go to bed. So we'll tuck this guy in. What's going on here? How do I get these hands in the right spot? Maybe like that. And like that. There we go. Top tray goes on. Click clack. You can see that official Tamashi seal of quality there. That's the one thing you need to look for when you're buying import figures. A lot of KOs, they usually don't have the sticker for one, and they do not have these Bandai Tamashi prints over here. So learn that as a little bit of a tip when you're looking at action figures on what to look. All right, so I think from there, I'm pretty much gonna call it. For the most part, again, this was a very impromptu stream. The main reason why I did it is because I've had, as I mentioned, that Age of Ultron Hulk for at least close to 10 years, if not, at least 10 years or close to 10 years. And I was in much need of an upgrade. I'm finding that the Avengers Assemble Hulk is gonna be my definitive Hulk moving forward, so I'll probably do some action figure photography or maybe it's even do an individual review in future. But while I had both of the Hulks, and this is my last hurrah with the, Age of Ultron version, I thought that it would be good to do a comparison for anyone that's in the market for an SH Figuarts or a 12 scale Hulk. Hope you found that informative, and if anything, come back and tune in for more, toy reviews, gaming, and stuff like that through my channel. I'm Kuya Kicks, and thanks for joining.